Hello, everyone. I'm Dalton Burdett,
I'm Nick Ericchio.
and we are the Movie Nights.
Well, some of them.
If you're watching this one because you want to hear our uncensored
Unfiltered.
thoughts and opinions with the world of movies and entertainment news, so kick back
Relax.
and thank you for being part of the conversation. Dude, how are you doing? It has been a while since we've both done the show together.
I know it has been, every time I always use like the beginning to like start pulling up the documents and some article links. And now when we went back to the old intro, it throws me off every time.
I know. It's fun. Calixers in the chat, welcome. Thank you for being here. Guys, if you want to participate in the live chat as the show goes on, I will happily pull your comments up on the screen like so as we go through topics. And in between topics, if we have time, we'll address all of your questions. We have a hell of a show for you guys today. There is a very, very, very big trailer that we have to talk about. And no, I'm not talking about the second trailer we're going to talk about, which I still enjoyed. I gotta jump right into these trailers, dude. I have to do this. So,
No, there's no time for chit chat. How our weeks were. We got shit to do.
There's no time.
We got trailers to discuss.
Speaking of how weeks were, I had a shit week. Nick and we were just talking about that. And can I tell you, one of the few highlights of this fucking week, buddy, was this trailer that I'm about to talk about. Guys, we have the official trailer for Send Help, starring Dylan O'Brien and Rachel McAdams. You guys, this trailer, which I'm going to try to pull up some clips for you, is so fucking good. And why is it good, you ask? What's so interesting or nice about it? Guys, it's the return of my goat. It's the return of Sam Raimi to thriller movies, to horror films. Oh my god! And his fingerprints are not only all over this trailer, it looks so good. It looks like it has that humor balance that Raimi's good at. It looks like it has genuine suspense. It has a wish fulfillment plot. Guys, pump this movie into my veins. Nick, talk about the trailer a little bit and also talk about what the movie's about.
Yeah, so I mean, it's called Send Help. It stars Rachel McAdams, who is reteaming with Sam Raimi. Because for those who may have forgotten that I never will, Sam Raimi did direct Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of Madness. He worked with Rachel McAdams and said, "You will be my muse now." He would look good splattered in blood. I just know it. And do that he just did. So it looks like it's sort of this dynamic, right, where Dylan O'Brien's this new boss executive and Rachel McAdams is kind of this, I think she's an accountant maybe or something like that, if I remember correctly.
It's seemingly so.
And it kind of just makes it seem like he's just a dick boss and is going to fire her if she doesn't do well on this business trip they have coming up. Lo and behold, they're on a plane and that plane crashes on an island and his leg is broken and she actually understands her shit on the island, it appears like. So it's kind of got this like Castaway meets Misery vibe. Remember Misery with Kathy Bates where she breaks the guy's legs? That's the vibe I got from the trailer. Now, you said Raimi's fingerprints were all over it. And see, I think they were hiding it. Like I wanted more Raimi from the trailer. I know it's there. I can see the forest from the trees, I know the third act is going to be nutty as hell. The minute the boar's head dropped, I was like, all right, give it to me more,
I see your point. I was actively searching for the Raimi-isms, so maybe I found more of them. Like, the one for me was the quick shot of Rachel McAdams just fully in the air with what looks like a spear shot from underneath, just like coming down. I'm like, oh, there he is. There's my
I got
goat.
it when it said from director of Evil Dead, and then the boar's head plops on the screen, and she's like, I like hunting.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely going to be something where they're going to lean. There's going to be some wacky shit in it, But I think
for sure.
Overall, here's my question though: is well, one, just I want to know how far it's going to go with the concept. I assume it's going to be a pretty intense R rating there. It's going to be fun to see Sam Raimi coming back to actually do something original. I think this was something that his company was brought a script and the concept and the pitch, and I think his company was originally going to produce it because he's been producing a crap ton of movies. I mean, hold on, I'm looking at my frame here. I mean, he did 65, if you remember. They did that one. And there were a couple other that he like produced recently.
I think he produced Crawl as well, if I'm not mistaken.
He produced Crawl, all the other Evil Dead ones,
Mhm.
like the Evil Dead remakes, and he was like, "Nope, I'm directing shit," which just immediately made me more excited for it.
Yeah, I'm fascinated by the January release date, but it does look like it's the last day of January, so like
Doesn't bode
going into
well.
February. Yeah, usually January is like a dumping ground for movies. However, it doesn't feel that way here. This almost feels like the Invisible Man play, where they feel like they can have a good movie and a strong opening in January, and not like a Wolfman play, both made by the
Yeah.
same person, which is
Here-
funny. Let's
Here's
see.
here's my question though, right?
Mhm.
Where's Bruce Campbell gonna be?
Oh, dude.
You know,
Either he's in the
he
office or he's going to be like the Mayday voice on the radio, maybe.
I'm fully hoping for the HR rep that
Hmm.
does not give her the time of day and is just fully on Dylan O'Brien, not Dylan O'Brien. Yeah, Dylan O'Brien's side.
Oh, for
Also,
sure.
just good to see Dylan O'Brien again. Can we just say that?
Yes, no, 100%. 100%. Calixer in the chat says, can you explain what a Raimi-ism is? If you could show what you mean, please and thank you. Not sure what you mean. So, Sam Raimi is famous for his signature directorial style, which not only usually combines like comedic elements, like Three Stooges style elements, but also the way he uses a camera is unlike any other. A lot of his influence is also seen in the Coen brothers films. One of the Coen brothers, I think it was Ethan Coen, was actually an editing assistant on the first Evil Dead film. They kind of learned from Sam Raimi in that way. And especially if you watch Raising Arizona is shot very similarly to Evil Dead 2. It's a very fun comparison if you watch those movies side by side. But what Sam Raimi does is he takes a camera and will tell you any part of that story with that camera in the craziest way. He's taken it all the way to your eyeball. He's taken it all the way to the sky. He's moving it in directions that you don't even think are possible. The original Evil Dead film, when you watch it, it's made on a budget of $20 for all it seems, yet it's shot in a way that's so unique and signature. It's one of the reasons why that movie has stood the test of time. You know, you have a low budget movie, a zero budget movie, where a guy's being hunted by deadites, and yet the camera is in between ceiling rafters going across up top as he's walking out the door, and each time it passes a wooden rafter, you hear whoom, whoom, whoom. Like, it's who's doing that, especially in how young Sam Raimi was. Like
Well,
that's such a
he's very much a strap the camera to your chest and run through the forest. I mean, that's how you get that
mhm.
iconic Evil Dead shot. And you see just influences like that of this kind of hovering tracking camera shot in a lot of his movies. You can even see it in like Spider-Man 2. There's a lot of
Mhm.
shots very similar to that, especially when it comes to like Tobey Maguire's swinging,
Mhm.
especially when you get into the more horror elements of like Doc Ock. He loves to take the
Yes.
camera and zoom really fast and tilt it on your face, kind of hit
Mhm.
you with one of these motions.
Oh
And you
yeah.
see a lot of that in Multiverse of Madness. You know,
Oh yes, you do.
he's a guy that the camera does not want. He does not want. You'll never see a tripod on a Sam Raimi set.
Bruce
It's really what it
Campbell
comes down to.
Bruce Campbell put it best. Someone asked Bruce Campbell, who is in all of Sam Raimi's films essentially. They said, what is it about Sam Raimi being on a Sam Raimi set that's different than being on other sets?" And Bruce Campbell responded, "On a Sam Raimi set is the only time after each scene is done the focus pooler is just drenched in sweat." And I'm like, that is the perfect way to describe
I
how
mean,
Sam Raimi shoots films.
it's that, and like what you were saying too, where it's kind of blending the comedy with the horror. You know, when you look
Mhm.
at Evil Dead 2 with the scene of like Ash's hand being possessed, you know, you have all this great physical comedy, but there's this kind of underlying horror and terror to it. You know, the plate
Mhm.
smashing, everything like that. You know, and he's someone that can take the gross, take the weird, take and turn it into something like great and also even comedic, which I think is the more talent. Like I thought that zombie Doctor Strange
Mm.
was the coolest part of that movie, and then turning the Deadite kind of cape into
Yeah.
it, you know. But even then, looking at to even within this trailer, you know, Sam Raimi was able to turn Rachel McAdams. Sorry, I'm laughing at comments that you're going to
Me
pull
too.
up
Me too.
probably.
Yep.
You know, you're looking at this scene where you have Rachel McAdams covered in blood,
Mhm.
throwing a disgusted, mauled boar's head at someone's feet, and somehow that feels like a comedy beat that also has like that tinge of unsettlingness to it. And I think his ability to marry those two things is a talent.
100%. And I'm going to give you another example, but I have to pull up this comment from Turnip Head. It says, how do you guys have so many examples off the top of your heads? Tism goes crazy. Don't fuck with us when it comes to Sam Raimi. We'll have that information.
I'm staring above my desk at a photo of him and myself.
You can't really see it here, but I have a signed Spider-Man ticket stub from Sam Raimi right there. And in college, film major, surprise everybody, in college I had to write a paper on Evil Dead 2, and it's one of the highest grades on a paper I've ever gotten. I'm pretty sure I got a full 100 on it, so there's that. We love subjective majors. But an example I wanted to follow up on yours is I've been watching a horror movie or horror-related thing every day in October, and recently I just not only rewatched all the Evil Dead films, but I rewatched the pilot of Ash vs. Evil Dead, which, by the way, if you've never watched that show, it's amazing. But Ash vs. Evil Dead, that pilot is directed by Sam Raimi, and it is so fucking good. And part of it is taking horror and comedy, as you were mentioning, but not making one make the other worse. Like, he literally has sequences that go from funny to scary in a reverse shot. But it doesn't take away, like, it tonally fits and it somehow continues. Like, it's unreal. Like, there's a sequence where two police officers go to a house to find someone who turns out to be a Deadite. The blend of horror and comedy in that sequence is absolutely crazy. Like, and it's so insanely shot.
I think the entire Evil Dead series did it as good as Evil Dead 2, and I think better than Evil Dead and Army of Darkness even.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, it's crazy how that show balances horror and comedy. It's crazy. Sam Raimi's the GOAT. That's what I'm trying to get at. But guys, we talked so much about this. This is why the show is fun.
To the surprise of no one, we went off on a 10-minute tangent on a 2-minute Sam Raimi trailer for a movie that comes out 4 months from now.
Yes. By the way, I have the 4K for both Darkman and Drag Me to Hell. I gotta bust those out soon. But anyway, guys,
I haven't seen either of those.
Buddy, it's interesting. Let's see. Hold on. Calixer says, you just researched these two, right? Those scenes are fresh. Too scary to watch the show. Listen, it's a great show. It's so good. Anyway, guys, we got to move on. I could do a whole 3-hour podcast on Sam Raimi. But what do you guys think about the trailer for Send Help? Have you seen it yet? Did you like it? Let us know in the comments as we move on to our next trailer. That's right. We have another trailer for you guys. And that is the latest trailer, not the first, but the latest trailer for The Running Man. This film is directed by the amazing Edgar Wright. Edgar Wright is one of the best directors working today and arguably a lot of people's favorite directors. And the marketing for these movies have gotten kind of a bad rap in a way, but I'll be honest, I kind of don't really understand it. I've really liked the marketing so far that we have, and this trailer is really good. The only thing that's bothering me is I think we're now officially getting into they're showing too much in the trailers at this point. But you don't really know that until you've seen the film. I while I understand like the criticism that it's kind of just looking like blockbuster slop, as the internet likes to call it, hard disagree. The camera work looks great. The production design looks great. It has fucking Coleman Domingo in it. Okay, Glenn Powell is a movie star. I think it looks great. I don't if I go in and I hate it, I'll be honest and say that. I've just been enjoying these trailers, and I can't wait personally. What did you think of the newest trailer? And have you seen kind of that criticism online going on about them?
I have. I really like the first trailer, and I like that trailer a lot more than this one. This one felt, I don't know, very sloppily put together, in my opinion. I thought that the music cue was a wrong choice in it, and I think a big part of not even that it was a wrong choice. It just, I don't know the vibe, if that's what we were going for or what we wanted, and I think the first one, what I was watching on screen and the way it was edited fit much better to the music in it than the second trailer. And I think it's a hard thing too, because I think they're trying to run that balance of how do you market it. I feel like they're not marketing it like an Edgar Wright movie, which feels like the incorrect thing to me. Like watching the trailer for Send Help, right? they're letting you know that this is Sam Raimi. Let me know that this is Edgar Wright, and you could probably piece that together from the trailer, but I thought, to me, just it felt like more of the same, and maybe they're trying to just hide some other elements to it, because obviously I think the production of the show and the behind the scenes of that is going to be a major part of it, and instead they're focusing on all the action sequences. But I was a little bit, I don't want to say disappointed, because in Edgar Wright we trust, right? But
Of
I did
course.
find myself losing a little bit of steam, and then those commentary that people online saying, the plot, I started to creep in a little bit, and I tried to push it away, because I'm like, no, man, they got Glenn Powell, they got Coleman Domingo, you got Josh Brolin, you got Edgar Wright reuniting with Michael Cera from Scott Pilgrim, everything. I want to be all pro and all in on this movie, and it is honestly might be, actually, no, Predator Badlands is my most anticipated movie right now, but
Fair.
I am very excited for it, but I do feel this sense of hesitation. I'm like, no, in Edgar Wright we trust. In Edgar Wright we trust.
No, for sure. Can I play devil's advocate on the idea of marketed as an Edgar Wright film?
You can.
Those films don't make any money. To my unfortunate shock and awe, I think the highest grossing film he made was Baby Driver, and I think it made a little over 100 million worldwide. I could be wrong about that, but marketed as an Edgar Wright film, everyone in the film community loves Edgar Wright. The general audience is just kind of like, he's just another person, and I think if you the film as a director style on a director that has yet to prove himself as a consistent moneymaker is an interesting move. They're obviously trying to just market off of Glenn Powell's movie star status. They're trying to market it off of the action elements, like you were saying. And yes, it doesn't feel right from terms of like an Edgar Wright perspective. And of course, we know the film's going to be great, as you said, in Edgar Wright we trust. But I'm thinking from the marketing perspective of the distributor, I wouldn't market a movie that's about to show someone's style who doesn't make a lot of money.
I guess
not
I can
to
see
say
that. I'm good.
I was going to say, not to say that this is the right marketing style, but I get why they're not doing it, I guess is what I'm saying.
I guess that makes sense, but it felt like they were trying to creep into marketing it like an Edgar Wright movie to showcase that it is an Edgar Wright movie without going fully into that.
Mm.
And I think maybe that's causing just sort of the, whatever the word is, disjointedness. I don't know why my brain, cognitive dissonance. I think maybe that's why I'm having trouble kind of balancing it. It's like even with like Send Help, where I'm like, I know that Sam Raimi is doing this, and I also kind of get that you can't market a full Sam. You can't give people the full Raimi. You can't give people full Raimi right out the gate.
Yeah.
And maybe I see your point about him not having the money or the blockbuster backing on it, and that's valid. I just think that maybe trying to balance that is maybe what's causing the heartache for me.
Yeah, for sure. It's kind of like, can you imagine the Warner Brothers team when they watched one battle after another and they were like, how the fuck do we make a trailer for this movie?
Because I said, I'm sure there's a lot more going on than just action scene.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. There's some interesting comments I want to pull up. One Calixer says, I think it's going to be good. I have faith in Edgar. He'll do right by me. Ha ha ha. Very funny.
Well done.
Something that interesting he brings up is he says, bottom line, Glenn Powell looks too rich to be that character, so it's going to take me out a bit. I kind of see that argument. I want to see it in context of the movie, just because maybe in the movie it comes across a lot differently. But he does that, just my opinion, though. I know he's going to kill it for sure. But I get what you're saying, and I think it's going to depend on how it plays out in the movie. I also think a point that the movie is obviously trying to make is just a, commentary on the American healthcare system, just based on how they need the money for a doctor. So maybe he's not exactly the poorest. I know that the trailers early talk about he doesn't have that much money, but he could just be your average person who now has a sudden medical expense. Therefore, he needs to do something extra. It'd be interesting to see how they adapt the story and see if that's the route they go. But
you need an Aaron Paul in that role.
But
also, was that one of the Please Don't Destroy guys?
It might have been. I know exactly what you're talking about.
I think it was, with the curly hair and the glasses.
Yeah, we'll have to fact check that, because I thought the same thing. I won't lie. It's funny you said that, but the reason why I wanted to pull up Calixer's comment there is because I feel the exact same way. This is a random pull, so go with me. I feel the exact same way with Jai Courtney playing Kyle Reese in Terminator Genesis. I hate that fucking movie. And part of it is a small thing. Well, it's not small to me, but like, if the movie was good, it wouldn't have mattered as much. But Michael Biehn, who plays Kyle Reese in the original Terminator, comes from the future, and he's this skinny, skin and bone, clinging to life guy, soldier, which makes sense with the future he's coming from. They recast that role with Anton Yelchin in Terminator Salvation, who did an amazing job and had a similar vibe. Then they recasted it again in Terminator Genesis with Jai Courtney, and Jai Courtney comes from the future looking jacked as fuck. He's beefy. He looks like Jai Courtney. And I remember just watching Terminator Genesis and going, that's not Kyle Reese. Like, he looks fine. Like, he looks like he could kick somebody's ass when Kyle Reese is one of my favorite movie characters of all time, by the way. So part of the whole appeal of that character is that he's the average guy who, as soon as he steps into a fight, you're like, he's probably going to lose. Like, that's his whole vibe. And so I wanted to pull up Calixer's comment if he looks too rich to be in that role. I had that experience with Jai Courtney in Terminator where he looked too big and beefy to play the everyday hero that he needed to play. So I get where you're coming from. It was a long-winded way of saying I get where you're coming from. So there you go.
So two things. One, when you started the thing, like, I need to point this out in the comments. I really thought you were just going to pull up the fact that he said, I agree with Dalton. And two, I did fact check that is fully one of the Please Don't Destroy guys.
Nice. Good call. I thought so too. I didn't want to say it though in case I was wrong.
You got a lot too. You got Katie O'Brien, you got Amelia Jones, like.
Oh yeah, dude, Katie O'Brien is a fucking star. I love Katie O'Brien. I'm glad she's getting more work.
You do love her.
She's awesome. She's great. Anyone who has seen Love Lies Bleeding, she's unbelievable in that movie. She's so good. So that's 22 minutes on 2 trailers, buddy. We're doing so great. Anyway, guys, let's move on to our main topic story, shall we? And we have some very interesting stories for you. One thing that Nick and I have been doing, separately or together, on the show the past few weeks is following the reporting of Paramount potentially buying Warner Brothers. We've started reporting. My brain is gone too, by the way. We started reporting when they were putting together a bid to make one allegedly next year, and then things were changing of how they were going to prep the company. DeLuca and Abdi re-upped their deals, Warner Brothers making it look like they were ripe for a sale with all the moves they were making. However, it is now being reported that Warner Brothers has denied the first bid from Paramount. I believe this initial report came from, let me see, Bloomberg, but they want me to pay to read that article, so fuck that, I'm not pulling that up. But it is an interesting thing, because I've seen a lot of different discourse just from the bid being denied. I've seen everything from, oh, well, Warner Brothers isn't for sale, that's what that means, and, people get excited or whatever. I think it's a bit deeper than that. I think Warner Brothers just wants to get as much money out of somebody as possible. And with David Ellison now taking control of Paramount, who is now the richest man in the world, he overtook Elon Musk. He's like, you can fucking afford to pay us more for Warner Brothers. I feel like that's exactly what's going on. Just knowing David Zaslav, I would love to be wrong. And I would love to say Warner Brothers is taking a stand like Calixer is suggesting and saying, we're not for sale. Highly fucking doubt. Highly fucking doubt that that's the case. But
I mean, you never take the first offer. Come on. It's
exactly.
Negotiating 101.
And listen, it's also a smart move. You have your fiduciary responsibility to your shareholders because we live in the society we live in. And eventually, if an offer comes in that's good enough, you have to take it because you have that responsibility to your shareholders. But it's not good enough right now to where denying it is going against that fiduciary responsibility. So right now, they're in a good spot. For those of you that remember when Disney bought Fox back in 2019, the original bid and the announced plan was for around $40 billion, I believe. And then Comcast came in and said, we bid 50. Fuck you. They had no intention of buying 20th Century Fox. They just wanted Disney to pay more, which they ended up having to pay like $70 billion in the end. One of the greatest rage bait things of all time. But I think that's kind of what's happening here.
Fiduciary for someone with a movie podcast.
I hate it too. Like, I'm really upset about it, but I'm gonna hold back from using that word for at least 3 months. So we're good there. But right now, I don't think it's Warner Brothers suggesting that they're not for sale, because they keep making moves suggesting that they are for sale. But I do think they're just trying to squeeze as much money out of this deal with Paramount as possible. Now, a suggestion that I heard online, I can't take credit for this, I heard it on the John Campea show, was one of the things that John suggested they could be doing is, remember, we reported a while back that before Paramount became interested in buying them, that the original plan was to split Warner Brothers and Discovery back into Warner Brothers and Discovery as two companies. But then when they were going to get bought, it was buying the one company, not the split companies. John Campea suggested they could be splitting the companies and trying to sell both separately. That would be, if they pulled that off, wow, that would be crazy. I don't think that that's going to happen, honestly. I think if they split the companies, then they are going to keep them. But but it was an interesting idea and thought. Nick, I'm going to throw it over to you. When you hear that Warner Brothers denied this first bid, do you think it's a line in the sand that they're not going anywhere, or do you think it's just a, come on, Ellison, give me more money? What do you think's going on?
Oh, it's 100% give me more money. And I think that they have had a excellent year at the box office, especially if we're looking at the movie side of things. I think he's just trying to make sure that they get way too much money, probably grossly overpaid for it. But, I think that's where they're heading, right? Zaslav, as we reported, right, there's no role for him at this new company. So he's just making sure he leaves and never has to work a day in his life again. And I think that's what it is. And I hope, out of all of this, I just need to know that Pam Abdi and Mike DeLuca are safe.
That's all that we care about.
They're all who I care about in this whole thing.
Give me DeLuca and Abdi producing a Sam Raimi directed film.
That's what let's just make sure they stick around, because they're having an absolute stellar year, especially coming off of all these reports toward the beginning of the year that he was looking to get rid of them, and then they're like, well, hold on, we're just going to save the box office.
Yeah. We're just going to break the record for the most $40 million openings in a row, and then we're going to beat the record ourselves.
Yeah, we're just going to keep beating ourselves.
I know you love to beat yourself. Anyway, gonna go to the comments here. Calixer says... Calixer says, on the weekends, I just think about how I can boost shareholder value. Oh, God, that's so funny. Bro came out with an AP level 5 vocab term. I didn't. I just hear this shit all the time, and it unfortunately applied to what we were talking about, so I had to pull it out. Unfortunately, that's where we're at. But yeah, guys, what do you think about this whole purchase, non-purchase, denied bid going on with Warner Brothers and Paramount? Let us know in the comments as we move on to our next story, and this next one is a bit of casting news. Anyone who watches this show knows that I'm a big Percy Jackson fan, as I am 11 years old mentally, and I was a big fan of Season 1 of the Disney Plus show. Season 2 comes out this year, and they're currently shooting Season 3. I believe they're going to try to make it annual after Season 2, because those kids are growing the fuck up. And we've been covering the castings of Percy Jackson Season 3, and there's been another casting. And I gotta say, I have mixed feelings about this, but I was originally very negative, but I'm coming around to it. And that is this. Kate McKinnon, according to, I believe it was Deadline, I'll have to double check that, has been cast as Aphrodite. By the way, amazing photo choices. Aphrodite in Percy Jackson and the Olympians Season 3. Now, Aphrodite is supposed to be in Greek mythology like this beautiful, gorgeous goddess. And while, of course, Kate McKinnon is beautiful and gorgeous, don't get me wrong, she's mostly known for playing very quirky, funny, off-the-top, improv-y characters. And from my memory of these books, which I admit I have not read in a long time, I don't remember Aphrodite being that way necessarily. I think she changes her appearance, if I'm not mistaken, but it's been a while. Anyone in the chat, please correct me if I'm wrong about this. I'll face that. But So at first when I heard the casting, I was like, oh, I don't really like that. It doesn't really fit Kate McKinnon. But I was making a classic fan mistake, Nicholas. I was like, what if the show's going in a different direction? And this is the right choice. We won't know until we see the show. I do think Kate McKinnon is a very strong actor. I'm now open to see how they're going to interpret it and open to see what they do. I'm usually king of pro castings because I usually don't let this get in the way. It happens to the best of us. It happened to me. I don't know what these scripts say for these shows. Maybe if I read the scripts, I would know that Kate McKinnon's perfect. So I'm going to keep my eyes open, my heart open to this. Nicholas, what are your thoughts on this casting news?
I mean, I still haven't watched the show, so I don't have much to say on it. Outside of
I'm interrupting you really quick. It was Variety that reported it, not Deadline. That's on me.
Oh, you're good. Again, I haven't watched the show, so I really don't know the whole vibe of it. All I can speak to is I know Kate McKinnon as a performer. I think she's an excellent performer. I think she's a wonderful comedic talent. So if they want to take this character in a more comedic tone or direction, I think that it's a strong choice. I think the thing is, in my mind, having not watched the show and just knowing kind of a general Greek mythology, I can totally envision what they're doing with this character in the series. And now whether or not that's the right choice or, you already know how she's going to be moving, what she's going to be saying, all this stuff. So, whether that's the right choice or not for the show, I can't speak to. It'll definitely be interesting. And maybe that's something where they do go up against your expectations with it. Maybe she's not being what you're expecting from it. I don't know. Cause isn't, what's his name's on the show, right? Jason Mantzoukas.
Yes.
And he's Dionysus, right? The god of wine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is it exactly what I would expect that to be?
Oh yeah.
Well, there we go. Then maybe I know exactly where we're headed with this. I do need to watch the show though. I do need to check that out. But I mean, they are rolling out. They're rolling out the cast for this third season. It seems like
they are. And here's the thing. I think you would like it. I think Morgan would love it. I think Morgan would love it. Yes. Really fun family show. I enjoy it greatly. Calixer's going to get mad at me. It's way better than those fucking movies that they made. The movies are terrible. I'm sorry. I know that they have sentimental value to people of a certain age, including me. Every time I try to rewatch them, I can't even get through them. They're so bad. Not the cast's fault. Before Calixer comes at me, not the cast's fault.
What's his name is on the new season of Only Murders in the Building?
Logan Lerman.
Logan Lerman, yeah.
That's correct.
Dude,
that's correct.
Okay, hold on. Can I go off on a quick tangent real quick? Do you know who the 3 heavy hitter guest stars they have this season on this show are that are like a trio? It's Logan Lerman, Renee Zellweger, and Christoph Waltz.
Oh my God. I should probably start watching that show finally, yeah?
I mean, watch the first season.
Okay.
And then, I just have a hard time stopping watching TV shows. And also, Martin Short is one of my comedic idols, so I will just watch everything that he does.
Fair.
But
fair.
Just, I was not expecting. All of a sudden, I'm watching and Christoph Waltz shows up. It was like, of all things, where's he been?
Mortgage must be getting expensive, Mr. Waltz.
And dude, he's so funny.
Really?
Because he's like playing this weird, like, I don't know, like German Eastern European dude, as he always does.
What? Christoph Waltz?
But like a lot more like reserved. So they give him like the dry kind of humor, like very deadpan delivery. And they had this whole episode. Sorry, I'm on a quick tangent here. And they're watching a board game night, and Christoph Waltz and Renee Zellweger and Logan Lerman are playing, and then the other characters are watching. They need some kind of information, right? So they say, "Oh, we'll play you for the information," and they're like, "Ha ha ha! You're going to play us. You're going to lose." And then they won, and there's just a silent beat, and it just cuts to Christoph Waltz and goes, "You motherfuckers beat us!" And it just comes out of nowhere for the character, for him. They've never dropped an F-bomb on the show before that I can recall. So just like all of a sudden, I was just dying. It's the hardest the show's made me laughing a bit.
That's great. That is awesome.
That was my tangent. It's nice to see Logan Lerman, to bring it back to Percy Jackson.
No, of course. No. Please go on tangents whenever you like, buddy. Calixer and Turnip Head, as I figured what happened are coming after me saying that they think the show's bad. Listen, guys, I really liked it. I really liked the show. I'm sorry. I am sorry. I am happy that the movies got you into the books, Kylixer, but man, they're bad. They're so bad. Kylixer does bring up a good point. What's going to come out first, GTA 6 or Percy Jackson Season 3? I think as of right now, it's GTA 6. But if it gets delayed one more time, I think Percy Jackson Season 3 has a real shot. I think it has a shot. It just depends on delays. It depends on delays. That will be interesting to see. Anyway, guys, what do you think about Kate McKinnon being cast as Aphrodite in Percy Jackson Season 3? Let us know in the comments as we move on to this story. And this story is interesting, to say the least. The Jetsons is getting a live-action remake. And you hear that and you think, I don't give a fuck at all. I'm sick of these live-action remakes. I don't want anything to do with this. There are two interesting factors, though, that I want to throw your way to make you possibly reconsider. One is Colin Trevorrow. And you might be thinking, Colin Trevorrow? Jurassic World? Yeah. Again, I think he gets a bad rap. Safety Not Guaranteed is a great film, and I just think he hasn't been able to quite get there, even though I really like the first Jurassic World movie. The third one, not so much. Wish he could have made Duel of the Fates. Anyway, he's directing the film. But leading the film, it doesn't specifically say which role, but I assume will be a lead role, is Jim Carrey. This is one of those stories, I think I saw it on Variety, where I saw it and I was just like, huh. I feel something. I don't know what it is, but I'm like interested a little bit. Just the fact that Jim Carrey is going to be in like another live action movie, like what he did with Sonic. I heard some chatter online that I wouldn't be surprised if he's the villain, considering there's box office precedent for him being the villain of a children's adaptation, because that's how studios kind of think. Makes sense to me. I don't necessarily think he'd be Mr. Jetson, but, I'm interested. If you just say Jetsons, I don't care. You say Colin Trevorrow and Jim Carrey, I'm like, okay, you have my attention now. What are you trying to cook up here? I'm fascinated. I don't know how to feel. Nick, I'm throwing it over to you. How do you feel about this?
Yeah, I mean, enough with the live action remakes, but Colin Trevorrow, very hit or miss for me. I think he's a great director. I've said it before in terms of scale, I think having this kind of futuristic city that we're going to be seeing, especially coming from the Jetsons, I think would be very interesting. I'm very curious as to the story, because like you mentioned, Jim Carrey as a villain. I don't really recall growing up, late night Cartoon Network, Hanna-Barbera, you see the Jetsons. I don't recall there being like a villain or like, where this story kind of takes you. A live action thing makes me think that maybe they're going to do this kind of fish out of water storyline, maybe someone into the future or the future into the past with the technology. I don't know. I think it'd be very interesting. But Fantastic Four, a lot of people were hailing it for that retro futuristic vibe. So I think that the Jetsons is then primed and ready as an IP for it. I think what's very interesting and what I'm very interested to actually see come of this is that I think that Hanna-Barbera have not had the best luck when it comes to the adaptations. No. You had that really bad Yogi Bear movie with Dan Aykroyd, and you had the Tom and Jerry movie that came out, I think, a year or two ago, which I don't think was too good from my recollection of it.
It was like 2021, I think.
Well, all right then. But when you look at it though, right? You have Wacky Races, you have Tom and Jerry, you have the Flintstones, you have the Jetsons, you have Johnny Quest, Dick Dastardly and Muttley, which I think we're actually more in the Scooby-Doo movie.
Mm-hmm.
We're in it, but I think they have a lot of very promising IP there. I think the issue is that they haven't had the right project to take off to really justify making more of them. And I think the issue too is there always have to be this animated live action hybrid, and Jetsons might be full live action, but I think if they just make full animated movies, like I think a full-fledged animated Tom and Jerry movie with the right story could be very successful. And I think the same goes for a lot of these too, with the Yogi Bear, but everything has to be the weird CG, everything has to be the human and character interacting. And I think that is the wrong approach for Flintstone, these cartoons, these properties to me.
No, I think you nailed it right on the head. I think you're exactly right. And the only real live action remake ish, I'm a fan of hybrid, of like live action animation hybrid. Cannot wait for Coyote versus Acme, as we've talked about on the show. But that's getting off topic. But I agree. I think an animated Jetsons reboot would be very interesting, along with the other Hanna-Barbera cartoons. But, I think they're doing the right thing by getting Jim Carrey and Colin Trevorrow, because it at least makes me go, oh. But
what's going on here?
Yeah, that's kind of exactly my vibe there. Calixer adds in the chat, safety not guaranteed is so good. Dude, yes. Dude, I've only seen it once when it came out. God, 2013, 2014, whatever that was. And it's great, but I need to watch it again. Anyway, getting off topic there, Colin Trevorrow. But, guys, what do you think about Jim Carrey and Colin Trevorrow potentially doing a live-action Jetsons film for some reason? Let us know in the comments as we move on to our next few main topic stories. And guys, these next few main topic stories are going to be Marvel-related. What? On this show, Marvel? Crazy. But New York Comic Con was a week ago, and we have a lot of interesting news coming out of that in the Marvel world, specifically Marvel Television, as they had the big panel. The first thing up to talk about is VisionQuest. And you might be thinking, I don't give a fuck about the VisionQuest show. I'm surprised they're even still doing that show. Well, from everything I've read online and everyone I've talked to personally who was there, apparently at that panel, of all the trailers they showed, X-Men 97, Daredevil Born Again, Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, the VisionQuest trailer got the biggest pop, apparently, which is very fascinating, by the way. It's being showrun by Terry Matalas, who was the showrunner of Picard Season 3, which had a lot of critical acclaim. We know that Kevin Feige's a big Star Trek fan, so that makes sense. But you might be thinking, I haven't seen a trailer, though, for VisionQuest. Well, they have not released it publicly. However, there is, of course, descriptions online of what was in the footage. I'm going to pull one quickly from Variety and go over it with you. And then I'm going to give it to Nick, because Nick is going to be happier than a pig in shit over this news. So here we go. You haven't heard that one, have you? Hold on. I'm letting him recover from that. Sometimes I like to remind people that I am, in fact, from the Midwest, and I have sayings like that just stored up here at a moment's notice. So,
everyone, I've known him for 10 plus years. I've never heard that before, and he said it in such a way that he said it all his life.
Yeah. Anyway, Variety. Marvel released the first full trailer for VisionQuest exclusively to fans at New York Comic Con. The trailer showed Paul Bettany back as White Vision from the ending of WandaVision, plus a regular human version. There was also human versions of Ultron, who was voiced by James Spader in the second Avengers movie, and the AI programs Jarvis, Friday, and Edith. At the end of the trailer, there was a brief shot of an adult Tommy, Vision and Wanda's son, that appeared as a child in WandaVision. VisionQuest was described as the third part of a trilogy that included WandaVision and Agatha all along. In the trailer, Bettany walks up to the White Mansion and is greeted by human servants who are really just recreated AI programs. They include Jarvis, Tony Stark's AI program that later became Vision, Friday, who replaced Jarvis, the AI assistant to Stark and Spider-Man, Edith, the AI program from Stark Sunglasses from Spider-Man Far From Home, and Spader reprises his role from Avengers Age of Ultron as the titular genocidal AI who Vision appeared to destroy at the end of the film. In addition to reappearing as Ultron, Spader was shown as a human in the trailer, VisionQuest, and apparently has a thick beard. Nick, while we knew that James Spader was going to be back as Ultron in the show, clearly it's in a role that's somewhat big. I know you're a massive fan of James Spader's Ultron as well as other things. I'm going to give you the floor, buddy. Go off. What do you think about this news?
I mean, this is how you justify a Vision show, is bringing back Ultron. They've already said, too, that they're going to be the core dynamic of the show is the two of them. It's a two-hander with Ultron and Vision, who were arguably the best dynamic in the Age of Ultron movie. James Spader, I love his voice. Everyone's got the favorite voice actor that they love, right? People love to hear Morgan Freeman. I could listen to James Spader talk all day. A lot of people hate Robert California on The Office. I love him, and it's only because I love James Spader's voice. I I'm not old enough yet. Blacklist feels like a parent TV show, like something your mom throws on. But man, 10 years from now, I'm cranking that on to listen to Spader talk. And the thing is, Ultron was such a very interesting character. He was very biblical in the way he spoke. I think the performance was very compelling. And I think he's one of the better MCU villains. And I think bringing him back for this was great. There's a line, it's not in the description you said, but apparently there's a line that James Spader Ultron says in the trailer to Vision and says, "You're a ghost haunting your footsteps." Dude hasn't even been on the screen yet and he's already dropping bars again. Like, come on. Ultron had some of the best lines in the MCU. Are you kidding me? I am fully I'm gonna be unbearable when this comes out.
As you should. Listen, I'm just as excited as you are. I love Age of Ultron. I've always said from the beginning, you were there. I've always said from the beginning that it was an underrated Marvel project and that the interpretation of Ultron they did, I actually really enjoyed. What I'm most excited about, yes, Edith. I'm most excited about Jarvis because it's confirmed that James Darcy's going to come back and play him, who played him in the Agent Carter ABC television show and briefly reprised the role in Avengers Endgame. And if you've seen the thumbnail of the show today, we're about to get into what's fucking canon or not. And if that's any indication of things to come, what a lovely day for me, as I love those kind of things. But that's how they go. Morgan Bernard is in the live chat and she says they haven't really improved much on the Oreo, have they?
That is a Robert California line from The Office. One of his best. It's up there with "I'm the fucking Lizard King" and my personal favorite, just "Why is Jim treating the magician poorly?" Whatever he does, James Spader's gonna drop these wonderful gems. He's a very quotable actor.
Why is Jim treating the magician poorly? Sounds like something Ultron would say, referring to the magician as like Doctor Strange. So I wonder if they could ever recreate that line. That would be funny.
There is a edit because Jim.
I know exactly where you're going with this. Yep.
Oh my God, why am I blank on the guy? John Krasinski played Mr. Fantastic in Doctor Strange, and does bully Doctor Strange a bit in the Illuminati sequence. So there's a lot of edits of them cutting back and forth. There's also great edits where they take Robert California's lines, like the Oreo, like the Lizard King, and they put it over Ultron, and it's equally as funny. The knife cut both ways, as they say.
All right, guys. Continuing on in the Marvel news from VisionQuest, this is where Dalton's autism gets really excited. Brad Winderbaum, while at New York Comic Con, not only did he do a panel with Brandon Davis, he also did an episode of Brandon Davis's podcast, Phase Hero, where he talked a lot about Marvel television. Kristen Ritter even showed up as a guest during the Phase Hero interview, and they were talking obviously about a ton of things. Obviously they were talking about Daredevil Born Again and about Kristen Ritter playing Jessica Jones in that show, but they inferred a lot more, and other interviews happened that basically lead to eventually me thinking that they're about to recanonize Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. again. And I'll go through that whole story in just a moment. But first, let me kind of pull up a little bit of what we're talking about here. Essentially, they've hinted that Jessica Jones, a new season or something else with Jessica Jones, could be coming soon after Daredevil Born Again. I'm pulling from Radio Times here. Let's see. Marvel boss Brad Winderbaum, head of Marvel Television and Animation, has hinted that a new Jessica Jones series might be on the horizon. Let's see. Asked by host Brandon Davis about a potential Jessica Jones Born Again, Winderbaum revealed, "It's coming and maybe sooner than you think." Kristen Ritter then added, "There's a lot of stuff that I felt there was room to explore. Brad and I talked about it, and I'm not going to say any of it because we're going to do it." And that's obviously very fucking cool. I'm a big fan of Jessica Jones, and I can't wait to see more of that, as long as it's better than seasons 2 and 3 of the original show. I don't think you can get quite as good as season 1. Season 1 of Jessica Jones is fucking spectacular. It's an amazing season of television. But as they continued and talked more, you know how often on this show we talk about people randomly saying things that they weren't asked, and then it becomes a story. Like something I always go back to is writer Simon Kinberg, who was one of the writers on Fan Four Stick, was being interviewed about Fan Four. Like he was on a red carpet for something else, and someone brought up Fantastic Four, talking about it, and unprompted, he said, "Yeah, everything's going along. It's not a disaster." Why would you say that? It sounds like it must be a disaster if you just say it's not a disaster unprompted. And so, things like that happen that kind of just get your brain going and go, whoa, wait a minute, what's going on here? In the interview with Brandon Davis had mentioned that there was an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. reunion panel, and that during that panel they had talked about some of the Easter eggs they did with other Marvel television shows, saying that Chloe Bennett's character went to the same orphanage as Matt Murdock. Quake went to the same orphanage as Matt Murdock, and that was a very intentional choice by Marvel Television at the time. And Brad Winderbaum, he just threw it out there, and Brad Winderbaum said, "Yeah, no, that's really interesting. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is a really great show. I actually last year just did a rewatch of all 7 seasons of it, and, it really holds up. It's a great series. There's a lot of good stuff in there." Brad, you're a busy guy. Why are you just watching 7 seasons of a show unless it's for
good.
fucking work? Yes, it's good. I know this, Nicholas. We watched it as it aired. My thing is, you are the head of Marvel Television. Why are you just watching every episode unless you got plans for them or you're trying to fit a timeline? And the theory gets deeper, Nicholas. It gets deeper because with an interview with Screen Rant, someone was talking about Agent Carter specifically and how it ties into Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because they had crossovers at the time, a lot of them. And Brad Winderbaum was just kind of nodding along going, yeah, they're both good. Sorry, I hit my mic. They're both great series. It's all good stuff, blah, blah, blah. And the interviewer, somewhat jokingly, even though they weren't lying, were like, yeah, I actually have a written out timeline of how Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Agent Carter fits into the MCU. And Brad Winderbaum said, send that to me. What do you mean, send it to you? What are you talking about? This is a real interview, by the way. You can look this up. I'm pretty sure it was a Screen Rant.
Can I see that? I need to know where the Darkhold and Ghost Rider are.
Listen, exactly, because that's a problem, right, that they got to address. Calixer adds maybe he just got laid off for some Hollywood conspiracy. Perhaps. But I'm telling you, there's some shit going on here. And I think that they're going to recanonize Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And when I say that, some of you are thinking, what do you mean recanonize? What are you talking about? Oh, buddy. I could go on for hours and hours about the old classic Marvel Television versus Marvel Studios and all that stuff. I'll do a brief abridged version for you here. Marvel Television, back when the MCU was first getting kicked off, separate from what Kevin Feige was doing. But what Kevin Feige was doing with the movies was so popular that they wanted to make TV shows and say that they were in the same universe as the movies. But they did not want to ask the movies permission. They just wanted to do it. And the people working in the movies rightfully said, go to hell. I'm trying to make this. You do what you want. I'm trying to make these movies. So they made several shows, the first of which was Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which the pilot was directed by Joss Whedon, who directed the Avengers films, which if you read the book MCU, The Reign of Marvel Studios, when Joss Whedon told Kevin Feige that he had to go shoot the pilot for S.H.I.E.L.D., Kevin Feige responded by saying, that's funny, I thought you had a fucking Avengers movie to prep, which is one of the most amazing responses of all time. But, going back, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. had Phil Coulson from the movies, who was revived. It had appearances from Nick Fury, played by Samuel L. Jackson, Maria Hill, played by Colby Smulders, Lady Sif, played by Jamie Alexander from the Thor movies. It had all kinds of... That first season has so much crossover with the MCU, it's crazy. It eventually hit its own stride and stopped being as connected and doing its own thing, where the show really kind of got to thrive. Although I'd say season 4 with Ghost Rider was fucking spectacular. But anyway, from their perspective, and the pitch to the fans was that it was always canon. The movies never addressed it. The closest the movies ever got to addressing it was that show crossed over with Agent Carter a lot. The actor who played Jarvis on Agent Carter was in Avengers Endgame briefly. So it's like a hearsay connection. And VisionQuest. It was like a hearsay connection. It wasn't even like a real one, So, The only reason why it's considered not canon now is because they've officially recanonized Daredevil and all the Netflix shows. They haven't gone back and pulled Agent Carter and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Even though they're both on Disney Plus, they're not in that timeline. There's that magic timeline on Disney Plus, and that's the one that counts. And they're not in there. To me, it's always been canon. Go to hell. It's canon to me. But with these statements from Brad Winderbaum, where he asked the interviewer, when I switch it over to you, I'm going to find that interview just to prove I'm not crazy. But asking the interviewer, even if it's playfully, like, send me that. Like, I'm working on that. Him just casually bringing up, yeah, I rewatched all 7 seasons last year. What are you planning? And it makes me think that in VisionQuest, I think VisionQuest is the place. In VisionQuest, they are going to have characters from S.H.I.E.L.D. show up. I think that is going to happen. I don't know who, when, why, or how. For the love of God, please be Fitzsimmons. But I do think they are going to do it. I'm just figuring out how.
Well, there's that whole the universe they go into, the technology one. Don't they go into like that computer universe?
The LMDs, yes.
The LMDs. That could be a way in with Vision.
I like it. The life model decoys. Yeah. I like it.
They would have loved Skrulls on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. They would have had a field day with them.
Dude, the Inhuman storyline they did was pretty awesome. It was pretty awesome.
They did a lot of cool shit on that.
Yeah. Yeah. And my thing is, if you can put Black Bolt and Doctor Strange too, you can fucking canonize S.H.I.E.L.D.
Blackagar, Bolt of God.
Really quick before I throw it over to you, Calixer says, I should check it out at some point. Kyler, I'm going to tell you right now, you would fucking hate this show. Let me rephrase.
But you'd also love it because it's 7 seasons. They're 24 episodes that are like an hour long.
Here's what I'll tell you, and this is the truth. I think Nick can have my back on this. It's a 22 episode first season, 24 episode first season. The first 12 aren't good. like it's like finding its footing, trying to be a thing. Then it gets to the episode where it crosses over with the Winter Soldier movie, Captain America 2. Holy shit. That episode is so fucking awesome. And from literally that episode all the way to season 7, the last episode. Amazing show. Like, that's where it picks up, and then it just takes off. And it's so good from there. I love the characters on that show so deeply.
Excellent characters.
That Winter Soldier crossover episode is fucking unbelievable. And, like, from there on, the show is awesome. Love it. Anyway,
that show made me cry several times, too.
Same. And you, Kyler, you know what? You would love the show because it has old school shipping of there's these 2 characters from season 1, episode 1, where you're like, oh, they should be together. And then it fucking drags it out over years. You're like, God damn it, just do it. Just get together.
Oh, man. What a time. What a time.
Anyway, I'm throwing it over to you so I can find that Brad Winderbaum interview.
Where do I start? Do I start at Jessica Jones? I could start there.
Start there.
Do it. Simply do it. You know, I think I love that we're getting Daredevil Born Again season 1. We've had already. I'm very excited for season 2. I know they're already working towards season 3, and we got a Punisher special presentation. So they're very much working to recanonize the Netflix side of things. My thing is, I don't know if I necessarily want another Luke Cage or Iron Fist show. I'd be very interested in a Heroes for Hire.
Okay, I was about to cut you off and say, if you fucking say that they shouldn't make Heroes for Hire,
no,
I swear to God.
Be very. I individually, I think I'd be on board for a Heroes for Hire show. I think Jessica Jones is the one who can carry her own show consistently across it. Mm-hmm. However, I think something that'd be more interesting is I would love just the occasional special presentation for him. I don't know if I need a full Jessica Jones series. I don't know if I need a full Heroes for Hire or Luke Cage or Iron Fist individually series. Much like I don't know if I need. Love the idea of this special presentation, and now he's going to cross over to the movies. I think Daredevil needs to be a series. I don't want a Daredevil special presentation. I need my powers of Daredevil, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's a great way to kind of keep establishing where these characters are at. And I think that could culminate into an excellent Defenders show after building that up. So, and I think it would
Yeah.
allow you to more seamlessly integrate them within other media if they're more relevant. Like, I think having, a Heroes for Hire show and then them showing up in Daredevil season 3, I think makes a lot more sense than just wasting time in a Daredevil season 3 to catch you up on where these characters have been.
No, I don't hate that. I don't hate that at
That's
all.
where I think that those characters are designed to exist in special presentations. And not to say that they can't do right with a series. I love Jessica Jones season 1. I think it's phenomenal. I love both seasons of the Punisher show. Luke Cage season 1 is very strong as well. But I think moving forward, I think that's where these special presentations, because I think that's something that Marvel has severely been underutilizing as a concept. And I
Agreed.
think that those are the characters to utilize them for.
I'm down for that. I'm down for that. Before you
Those
dive
are
into
my thoughts
Shield,
there. Yeah. Hmm.
do you want to go first on Shield? I did find the interview. If you want me to pull that up first.
Yeah, pull it up.
All right. And by the way, there's a quote too I'm so right about this. Like, I cannot wait to be right about this. Here's the quote from the Screen Rant interview with Brad Winderbaum. Brad Winderbaum says, "Well, I'll tell you this," in response to being asked about S.H.I.E.L.D. and Carter. "Well, I'll tell you this and put it to you like this. It's exciting for me to think about how to square those ABC shows with the canon. That to me, if you know me and the way my brain works, that is fun territory to imagine. You motherfucker." Scream Rant then adds, "Well, I have a list that breaks down episodically where it would fit in the MCU, so I'll send it to you after this." And Brad Winderbaum says, "I need it. I need it." Dude, come the fuck on. Come on. Just do it. The feeling I had when I woke up on Disney Plus and the Netflix shows were in the timeline, when I see that with S.H.I.E.L.D., ooh, it's going to be excellent. It's going to be excellent. Anyway,
I
your
do
thoughts.
miss all of those characters. The more I'm thinking about back on them now, like they were all just such great characters. Quake could be a really fun addition to the MCU. And Coulson, who doesn't love Coulson?
Mac, dude.
What was the show where we were like we were watching one of the series on Disney Plus, and they mentioned like we need to bring in the cavalry. Was it It was Secret Invasion.
Yes,
Fury made a
yes.
reference to bring in the cavalry, and there's a great arc or not arc, but kind of running reference that this one actress, Ming-Na Wen, who's the original voice of Mulan, um, she was the cavalry, just the one woman. And so when they started teasing, like Nick Fury had said that line in Secret Invasion, I was like, "Yo, are they about to bring her in?" Because like I'll lose my shit right now if Agents of Shield shows up in this.
Yeah.
Um, I think it's a great idea to fold it back. I mean, it was always kind of loosely a part of it anyway. Coulson's such a great original character, and I think that if we're baiting back on nostalgia, and that's the direction MCU wants to go in, I think Coulson's a great way to bring that back into it. And I think that the characters can integrate and fit into very, very interesting parts of it. You have Sword being set up now. I think that's a very quick integration, and they kind of allude to that Daisy and Fitzsimmons and all them kind of join Sword, but also not really because they didn't fully do it. So I think that's a very easy layup to fit them back into the fold there. Um, I wouldn't be shocked if they do show up in Vision Quest. I think that's going to be a huge side because they did kind of set up. Was Sword set up in WandaVision?
Mm-hmm.
Or am I
And Far From Home.
and Far From Home? So I think that would make sense, especially if they're saying that Vision Quest is kind of following that trilogy of WandaVision and Agatha, or spiritual sequels, whatever they call them. But all positives on my end for the idea. Honestly, I'm pro it. I think he's very much blatantly trying to say like we're trying to get it back in. We just don't know where and how. So I'm curious to see if this comes in the form of just the characters popping up, or if we're gonna have kind of a new series going on Disney Plus. I don't know.
I hope it comes up in the most unexpected bullshit fucking way. Like, honestly, I hope it's Avengers Doomsday. Just give me Ming-Na Wen's character in Avengers Doomsday. I'm in.
Fitzsimmons, I need you to distract Kang. Oh,
So good.
but I mean, they did some very interesting stuff on the show. Like you said, they did this whole Inhumans storyline. You have a Ghost Rider and a Darkhold in it. Like, there's a lot of fuckery afoot that they can play with.
Honestly, I think if they do anything more than humans, maybe on Miss Marvel, I think that's how you get them back.
Yeah.
and I was thinking about it before we move on. I was like, did Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. ever let me down in any way? They did. And it was when Mockingbird and, oh my God, it was these two characters. It was Bobby and, oh, they were so awesome. I'm forgetting their name. But they were going to do a spin-off show with them called Marvel's Most Wanted. And so these awesome characters in the show were written out for the purposes of doing a spin-off. And then the spin-off never moved forward. And then the characters just didn't come back. Like
Yeah,
they
I do
did like
remember that.
they did like one time later, but like I was thinking like, oh, if the show doesn't take off, they'll just put them back on. They didn't. I was like,
And
what
they
the
gave
fuck?
them the saddest goodbye.
They did. They did.
That was one that like broke me. I was emotional after that. That was such a good goodbye.
It was. Oh, it was. Anyway, guys, we talked for a long time about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Thank God. Anyway, what do you guys
Always
think
right.
about all of this news with Brad Winderbaum and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Marvel TV? Let us know in the comments as we move on to the B-roll section of our show. What is the B-roll? That is the news story topics that we still wanted to talk about, but just don't have time to do a deep dive on them. We have a couple somber ones to start off with. One of them is this. Diane Keaton passed away last week. Diane Keaton is obviously just an icon of an actress, notable for the Godfather films, partially. She was also just really prevalent in Hollywood herself. I think had dabbled in a ton of other avenues. I think one of them was even like the fashion industry as well. And it's a really, really sad, unfortunate loss. You saw the industry kind of shook by it. It was a very sudden loss. I know she was 79, but there wasn't anything that could like determine poor health that would lead to this. Like a lot of her friends were very shocked by the loss, and it is very sad. If you wanted to add anything, Nicholas.
No, I agree with your sentiments. I mean, her role in The Godfather is iconic. You know, you have Annie Hall, Father of the Bride. You know, these are all movies that people have hailed. People rewatch frequently. You know, so it's nice to know that her legacy will live on in that regard.
No, for sure, 100%, 100%. The other person we lost, and this one, just to my stupid nerd self, it hurt me when I saw it, and that's I believe it's pronounced Struzan passed away. And for those of you that don't know who that is, he is one of the most iconic poster artists in the world. We have a couple examples here of just Star Wars posters he did, but like in Indiana Jones, like the classic Star Wars posters he made. He also made the iconic Back to the Future poster of Marty McFly looking at his watch with the car behind him. Like he did Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone also, I believe, like the first poster for that.
Big Trouble in Little China.
Yes, amazing poster as well. Like unreal movie posters. Like back when movie posters could sell a movie on their own. Like the movie poster is a lost art, and he was one of the greatest movie poster artists of all time. Like Steven Spielberg put out a statement when he heard news of his passing, just saying about what a great artist he was. And you know, it's a sad thing to see. I don't know if you wanted to add anything else there, buddy.
No, just I mean some of the most iconic posters of these iconic movies, and I think partially they're so instantly recognizable by their posters are hung in everyone's college dorm rooms. You have quite a few of his just in your house as well too. Especially the Star Wars one. I mean, it's such impactful iconography. And to know that he touched a lot of it. You think about like John Williams has all these iconic scores, and everything like that. And you don't think, I never know that these were all designed by the same poster artist. So it's just kind of crazy to see the unsung heroes of Hollywood, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. On less somber notes, but more baffling ones, next up on the B-roll, Netflix has decided to drop Netflix original from all of their originals. What the fuck? Like, I don't know. I don't know the reasoning behind this. Physical Media for Life, I have a couple of Netflix things on Blu-ray and 4K that will have that forever, so that's interesting. I honestly just think it's because it's easier to sell off if they take it off the service, which just makes me sad. But that's where we are, so.
Well, I don't know if it's that. My first initial thought was that these, Netflix original has such like a stigma behind it. So maybe giving them the advantage of like not clicking a Netflix original and not having that expectation going into it. Because I think you click, you see Netflix original, especially from like movies, especially with like some of the comedy movies they've been putting out. I think you're not seeing the best quality being put out, and sometimes I do find myself skipping right over these Netflix originals for that
Mm,
purpose because the banner's right there; it's so prevalent. So maybe that's trying to give an edge to those to be discovered more.
maybe. That's an interesting way of thinking about it, and I hope you're right. I hope you're right. Moving on next to the B roll. After Mortal Kombat 2 was delayed to summer of next year, it's now been released that Mortal Kombat 3 is officially happening. Interesting considering we were afraid that it was pushed due to reasons of the film not being so good. The story right now is that they just realized that they really like the film and that they think it will do better in the summer. Okay, we'll see if that's the case. I hope it's the case. That would be very fun. But it did cause some worry within me when it was pushed as far back out as it was. But Mortal Kombat 3 is interesting. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. I know one of the like writers or something, or maybe the director teased it and was just like, "When you see two, you'll know why this is already greenlit." So I think they are trying to use this push as an advantage to market of like, no, we just want to make sure, we have the IMAX screens. We want this to be a big summer blockbuster event. So I am curious though, because there's not really a whole lot of big blockbusters, I would say, coming around the time of its original release, which may have made
Mm-hmm.
it do well, but what do I know?
Listen, Hollywood is a weird place. Next up on the B-roll, Apple TV Plus is officially rebranding to Apple TV. Next up on the B-roll, um, no, but I mean,
HBO Max.
of course, it's just a very silly thing. Do you have anything you want to add other than what I said?
No, genuinely, when you sent me this article, I think my response was I didn't even know there was a plus there.
Fair, fair. Next up is this. I apologize deeply if this name is pronounced incorrectly, but Jaakko Ohtonen, I believe it is a Roman actor. I could be wrong about that. If you want to pull up the article for me. Anyway, Jaakko Ohtonen has been cast as Jesus Christ in Passion of the Christ 2 Electric Boogaloo. It's not called Electric Boogaloo, I'm just joking. But Jim Caviezel is not going to be returning as Jesus. For who knows what reason. I imagine it's just because this film takes place days after the first film, and Jim Caviezel has aged about 20 years. I imagine it has something to do with that. But, regardless of how anyone would feel about the topic, Passion of the Christ was a box office sensation when it came out. It was the highest grossing R-rated movie of all time domestically for a long time there, until I think one of the Deadpools beat it. But it was a crazy success, and I'm fascinated that they're even making the second film with Mel Gibson returning as director, but, he is a great director, and I never saw Flight Risk, but, heard mixed things. But yeah. Did I get his origins correctly?
It says he's Finnish.
Finnish actor. Forgive me.
And
Forgive me.
The actress playing Mary Magdalene is Cuban.
Right. That had to change too because I believe it was Monica Bellucci in the first film.
Yeah. And it said that this actress was in Dead Reckoning.
Oh.
And I'm trying to find a screenshot.
Part 1 or the final reckoning?
Looks like both.
Good for her.
One of them? No, yeah, she was in both of them. I don't recall this character. But that's for another day.
That is for another day. Last up on the B-roll is this. GOAT himself, Christopher Nolan, has been giving high praise to The Rock's performance in The Smashing Machine, calling it one of the most devastating performances of the year. And ladies and gentlemen, that's how you Oscar campaign right there. That's how you do it. If you think he was falling out of the conversation, Chris Nolan's bringing him right back up, baby. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. Obviously, the performance is great. In our review, we talked about how good the performance was. But, seeing someone as much of a titan as Christopher Nolan stepping into the conversation, I honestly, no joke, I do think this helps his Oscar chances. No bullshit. And I think it was very interesting timing and strategy for that. Your thoughts?
Yeah, Nolan's word carries a lot of weight, so I think that is a great way to just put you back into the conversation, especially as I assume voting's going to kind of be starting and ramping up soon. So I think that really, for maybe people that haven't seen the movie, that are members of the Academy that are voting, I think hearing Nolan say that probably puts that on top of a lot of people's lists. Also, real quick, that's my closing my thoughts there. Going
Mhm.
back to the Mission Impossible, she is Ethan Hunt's like girlfriend or former partner in the flashback. She's the one that's killed by
Oh,
Gabriel.
okay, okay.
So she was in the flashback in both movies, and that's where she is. So
Got it.
that's
Okay.
why I couldn't find her. She was in like a dark alleyway getting shot.
Fair. Understood. Still, though, good for her. Good for her.
Oh
Guys,
yeah, great.
with the B-roll down, it's now time for the box office.
The box office.
Let's pull up our predictions from last week, and surprise, surprise, we both fucking suck. I got the first and the fifth film correctly. Nick got the first film correctly. Let's dive in to the actual box office numbers, shall we? This is where the fun begins, Nicholas. Let's get it going here.
I was very saddened by our performance this week. It was one of our worst weeks,
You know, it be like that sometimes. It really do. But here we go.
Sometimes or all the times now, though.
True. You can't win them all, but you certainly can lose them all. Tron Ares came in first with $33 million in its opening weekend. Roofman came in second in its opening weekend, making $8.1 million. One Battle After Another only dropped 38% from week 2 to week 3, making $6.8 million. Gabby's Dollhouse, the movie, made $3.4 million, dropping 35% from week 2 to week 3. The Conjuring Last Rites made $3.1 million in its sixth week, just squeaking over Soul on Fire for that fifth place spot. Let's dive into the numbers a little bit more. Tron Ares now has $70 million worldwide on a budget of $180. Whew. It's going to probably not be a theatrical financial success, unfortunately, but that's in line with the history of Tron, if you're familiar with it. Roofman made $12 million worldwide on a budget of, I've read it was like 40. So also a long way to go, unfortunately. I didn't see movies for like the past 3 weeks just because I've had a lot of shit going on, but I want to see this movie so bad. I've heard it's actually really good, so I want to watch it badly. One Battle After Another now has $147 million worldwide on a budget of $140. We got the production budget back, baby. Let's go PTA. Obviously, listen, if it continues to have like 30, 25% drops, it maybe has a chance to get to some theatrical profitability, but it has a long way to go, so I doubt it. But I think what it doesn't make in box office, it will make up for awards, most likely. Gabby's Dollhouse now has just shy of $50 million worldwide on a budget of 32. It's at 1.6, so maybe not theatrical profitability, but it will definitely get there, and probably ancillary markets as well, considering the IP. And The Conjuring Last Rites just on a fucking killing, making $477 million worldwide on a budget of 55. That's 8.7 times the budget. Holy moly.
That show's gonna do well, I can tell you right now.
Oh, yeah. By the way, The Smashing Machine dropped almost 70% in week 2, which is wild.
Yikes.
Wild.
Well, it did get a lot of mixed reception, honestly, so I guess that's to be expected.
Yeah. Anywho, let's do our predictions for next week, Nicholas.
Oh, boy.
This weekend, I should say. This is going to be fun. Do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
You can go first.
All right, let's pull it up here. Let's see. 33. It's going to drop right like to 15 or so. What's this weekend? Black Phone 2?
Black Phone 2, and I don't know. Does K-pop Demon Hunters come back into theaters this week, or is that...
Not until Halloween, I think.
Oh, okay.
Oh, and Good Fortune, but I don't think it's going to make that much. I'm going to go Black Phone 2, number 1.
Okay.
I'm going to go Tron Ares, number 2.
Okay.
We'll do One Battle After Another, number 3. Good Fortune, number 4. Roofman, number 5.
Ooh. Okay, I'm going to go I'm gonna go Black Phone 2. Number 1, I'm gonna go Tron Ares. Number 2, I'm gonna go One Battle. Number 3. Then I'm gonna go Roofman, and then I'm gonna go Good Fortune.
Okay.
Roofman's had a lot of positive word of mouth, and it's not to say that it's gonna see an increase, but I think it may squeak ahead of Good Fortune.
Fair. That's fair. I like it. Guys, those are the predictions. If you want to leave predictions in the comments, if you're right, we'll shout you out on the show next week. Be on the lookout for some movie reviews coming from Nick this weekend and early next week. And Nick, is there anything else you want to add before we go?
No.
Excellent. Guys, thank you so much for watching us bitch about Sam Raimi and Marvel Television. As always, we love you. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.